Welcome back, friends. I'm Beth Krause with Grace Anatomy Functional Health and Nutrition, and I'm so glad you're here for week 2 of our herbal apothecary building. If you joined me last week, we explored the powerful and often overlooked world of the wild weeds, the nature's medicine hidden beneath our feet in our lawns. This week, we're going to shift from wild to actually cultivated, from what's already growing around us to what you can intentionally grow for healing right at home. I'm going to show you how to build a healing garden, a backyard or porch-based apothecary that supports your gut, your hormones, your immune system, and just everyday family needs. This isn't just gardening. This is stewardship. It's coming in partnership with how God designed our bodies to work. It's growing healing from the ground up. So grab your cup of tea if you haven't already. And also, there will be a video later, I'm sure, that will show you what herbs and flowers I put in this cup of tea today. So, first of all, for those of you that haven't started, or maybe this is all new to you, why should we grow our own medicine? In a world where everything is outsourced, our food, our health, even our peace, planting a garden is actually an act of reclaiming. It's growing our own medicine allows you to reclaim control over your own family's wellness. It empowers you to put some of that back into your own hands. It reduces exposure to the synthetic medications, preservatives, and fillers because you know what's going into that food. You know what's coming out of it, and you know how it's been prepared. It saves money over time on supplements and emergency remedies because you are just growing it and harvesting it yourself. And you're building a living relationship with the earth and also with God, the Creator. So let's also be real. When you grow herbs and start using them, it changes something. It simplifies your medicine cabinet. It gets the kids involved if you have children or grandchildren, and it reconnects you with something that is ancient. It goes back and it brings back some of the culture that we have lost in this fast-paced society. It's sacred and it is sustainable. It's sustainable, and we've lost some of those skills. It's bringing some of that back, and it doesn't take a lot of time. Let's just bust that myth right now. I believe it also honors God's design. In Genesis 1:29, it tells us, I have given you every herb bearing seed. To you it shall be for meat. That includes medicine. So our bones have to be knit together by our muscles and with meat. So herbs help nourish our muscles, our bones, our nervous system, everything about us. So let's walk through some of these, just the top 10. And again, we're just scratching the surface on what all of these can do for us. So let's walk through these 10 that I've chosen that are easy to grow in most areas. Again, you can look at your time or your grow zones and see what works best for your area. And also, many of these can be grown in pots and brought indoors. These are effective and primarily safe for family wellness. And I'll cover each one of these, how it's used, how to grow it, and how to use it practically. So let's get started. Now, we've covered some of these already, but you cannot cover an herb enough because you will always learn something different about each herb. And until you actually start using them on a daily basis, it's good to just continually repetition. Now, lemon balm is our very first one, Melissa officinalis. It's gentle, it's calming, and it is safe for kids. It helps with anxiety and restlessness, can also help with viruses and indigestion. You can grow this in partial sun, in moist soil, and if you trim it regularly and you can dry the leaves, you can take this and it will continue to grow. Now, if you're going to start with this, either start with it in a pot, or you can grow it in an area where either you don't care if it takes over, or put it in a pot in the ground, because it will take over an area of your garden. So make sure you don't mind that. Use it fresh in a cup of tea, or use it dried. You can infuse it in honey or make a glyceride out of it. And in other courses, I will talk more about how to do those. If you're using it in a cup of tea, you will need 1 tablespoon per cup of tea. If you're using it dried, you will want 1 teaspoon. And then as you get to know the herbs, you adjust those, you adjust them for you and how that best suits you and how you're using it. Now, it's best for like a bedtime routine, or if you have a viral infection, or if you have social emotional issues like anxiety, depression, things like that, that you struggle with. Lemon balm can really help soothe your nervous system. So it's an overall just really good calming herb. Now again, I am not a doctor. I work in the herbal and functional health and nutrition space. So if you are struggling with clinical depression or any other major issues, please consult your physician. These are suggestions, recommendations. These are not medical diagnoses at all. So you do what works best for your family. Chamomile, Matricaria recutita. I am going to completely, I am not great at saying their scientific names. But chamomile is like a hug and a mug. Now I have lemon balm, I have chamomile, I have peppermint, spearmint, calendula, and parsley in this cup of tea today. It's soothing for nerves and for mind, also for digestion, for skin. It's just a hug and a mug is really great. Now this would also be a great sleep blend, but it's not going to knock you out type of sleep. If you haven't used these particular herbs before, then do not use them during the day. Experiment with this blend at night. But chamomile also helps with sleep, with tension, with digestion. This is also safe for babies, for teething. So you can make a really strong tea and then rub it on the baby's teeth, or you can do a tincture. And this isn't a chamomile tincture, but this is a tincture preparation of a different herb, and this actually needs to be shook. But this has sat. This is actually ashwagandha, powdered. And this is sat and it's ready to be poured off, but I wanted to show you one that hasn't been poured off yet. And then this will be strained out and then moved to a tincture bottle. And this is what we talk about for those of you that are new, that haven't been using tinctures yet. But this is a tincture bottle, and some of them are lighter, some are darker. This happens to be blue vervain. And you put, depending on which tincture and for what, you put drops either in some grape juice, or all organic apple juice or grape juice if you don't care for the taste of them, or you can put them right under your tongue and hold it. For children using them, you can put it in a little bit of applesauce to take the tincture. That's how you use them. And the dosages, you can go by Clark's rule of dosing or work with an herbalist or functional health practitioner. But chamomile grows really well in full sun. It prefers that it doesn't keep its soil wet, so sandy soil is great. It reseeds really easily. You use 1 to 2 teaspoons of dried flower per cup. You can also put it in like a bath sachet that you can make and soak it in your bath. And you can make compress. So that was I was going to say, for babies, you can also make a really heavy tea and soak a cotton ball, or not a cotton ball, a washcloth, and let them chew on the washcloth when they're teething, or rub it on their gums when they're teething. This is really great for children's nerves, or even when they're colicky. You can put a compress over their tummies, and that'll help with colicky or gassy babies as well. And chamomile is also soothing for adults. It really helps with stress. So like I said, a hug and a mug is chamomile. Now, I did make a blend. This is a blend that has chamomile and anise hyssop. It's got passion flower and ginger and mullein and marshmallow. But this is what a blend would look like once you blend a tea. This works really well in the evening as a tea as well. So mint, spearmint, peppermint. Again, lemon balm is in the mint family, but that mint flavor. Now you can eat the leaves just right out of the garden. You could put the mint leaves fresh in tea or in water. You can garnish, obviously, food with the mint. It's cooling, it's cleansing, it brightens things up. So you could even do like a face wash with mint water or a hair wash with mint. It does help with digestion and nausea, with headaches, and with hormonal imbalances. But again, if you don't want it to take over a garden area, because it will, plant it in a container. It spreads really fast. It prefers partial sun. It doesn't like to be in full sun because it will brown the leaves. And it prefers to stay moist. It doesn't like to get too dry. And like I said, put it in tea, infused waters. You can chew it fresh for your breath and to help soothe your gut and to calm down any digestive issues. It's best used after meals for upset stomachs, and it can help cool even hot flashes. So mint is just a really nice overall, easy to grow. So if you are wondering, how do I start? Where do I start? Mint might be the one for you to start with, any one of the mints. thyme. We have talked about thyme before. Thyme is great. It's a great herbal hand sanitizer, and it's a great lung support in one. Thyme helps with cough and cold and sinus and fungal issues. Grow it in full sun, dry soil. It's drought tolerant. You can even grow thyme in part sun. I mean, it's just really easy to grow. It's a great herb to cook with, so it's a culinary herb as well. You use it in tea, and I would say strong brew thyme. Do a steam inhalation with it, and you can do a foot soak as well. So it's really got a great affinity for respiratory infections. Also for the fungal infections, like if you struggle with athlete's foot or any type of foot fungus, soak your feet in a thyme bath. Do a foot bath with thyme in it. And thyme is also great for your mouth. So it really helps cut the bacteria in your mouth. So thyme is an overall great herb to have in your tool chest. So some of you might be thinking, well, how do I keep them year round? And use them fresh when you can, but then start to think, how do I prepare them to have them all year, all the time? And that's when we do the infused oils or dry the leaves and have them prepared so we can make the teas or the steams or the soaks or the baths. You can make salts with the dried leaves and prepare the herbs that way. You can infuse them in honey and use the honey, because honey is also antiseptic, antimicrobial, antifungal. So you can put all of these things together and think about how you are wanting to use each of these things in your medicinal cabinet. So start to think of it that way. So the next one is calendula, and I'm just starting to harvest my calendula. So here is some. I've got a lot drying in my kitchen right now, but you just pull off the flowers, and isn't that beautiful? They are just so pretty. This is the gut skin connection healer. Calendula helps with rashes and ulcers, inflammation, and even post-op healing. It's easy to grow, and it will come back year after year, usually, depending on your area. It loves full sun. It blooms all season. And in fact, when you're picking the blooms, leave some for the bees and the pollinators, but it helps the plant when you pick off the flowers, because it continues then to produce many, many flowers all season long. So it's super easy to grow. It's great to infuse in oil for your skin, in tea for gut, and then if you make a really strong infusion, you can make a compress and put it over any minor wounds or areas of rash or eczema. It's great as a salve for diaper rash. And like I said, eczema, wound care, leaky gut. I like to blend calendula with plantain for skin issues. Yeah, you'll hear me talk about calendula a lot. I really, really appreciate the nature of calendula. So, lavender, I'm sure you've heard of lavender. Lavandula angustifolia is the tranquility in a plant. It helps calm your system. It helps with sleep and stress. It does help with bug bites and with burns. It likes to grow in a drier, well-drained soil, and it prefers full sun, but it will grow in partial shade as well. But if you've ever seen the beauty of a lavender field, they're usually in open full sun, and they're just gorgeous. And there's all sorts of types of different lavender. You can use it in bath soaks and sachets and salves. It's very great, very good on skin. And it's great for nighttime routines. Put that as part of your sleep habits. It's also good to help kids that need some desensitizing if they're sensory overloaded, or even adults for that matter. And it helps to calm emotions. So kids with big emotions, put some a lavender balm or salve or even lotion on the bottom of children's feet at night before bed. Make it part of their bedtime routine, and that helps calm them and helps their mind ease a bit. And it's just a lovely, beautiful plant. So you get beauty and function at the same time. Oregano is another one. Oregano is, again, another culinary herb, and use it in your food. Use especially, you probably are very familiar with it in Italian food. It's what gives that sweet aroma in the spaghetti sauces that we are used to. But this is your immune system's spicy best friend. So it also helps with infections. It can help with candida issues and obviously GI issues. Oregano is hardy, and it's a perennial, so it'll come back year after year after year. It prefers full sun and dry soil. This you would like to do as a strong tea. And it doesn't take much for oregano to be strong. So if you've ever opened up a spice jar of oregano, if you've not grown it before and you've opened up a spice jar, you can distinctly tell that you've opened up oregano. So a strong tea for oregano might be only a half a teaspoon of dried. But you can also infuse oil with the oregano. Again, when we're infusing oils, we want to make sure that our herbs are dried, because if they aren't, there will be water, and we don't want water from the fresh herb to mix with the oil, because then that can leave bacteria in the oil, and oil and water don't mix. So just remember that oil and water don't mix when you're infusing oils. You can use coconut, a clarified coconut, or an almond oil, or even a really good quality olive oil to infuse your dried herbs into, but you want to make sure they're good quality dried herbs, and again, dried. Oil and water don't mix. That's how you remember not to infuse the fresh herbs. You can tincture fresh herbs or dried herbs in the alcohol, but if you are tincturing, you need to make sure, if you're tincturing fresh herbs, you need to make sure you up the alcohol content in some cases because of the water. And you want to make sure the alcohol content is high enough to extract the medicinal properties out properly. Anyway, back to oregano. Oregano is great for SIBO. It's also great for sore throat gargles. And if you've been exposed to mold, it helps draw that mold out of your system. So parsley. I know some were asking, well, what good is parsley other than just a breath freshener and garnish? Nobody eats parsley other than it maybe during a Shabbat or during Passover. Parsley is an underrated detoxifier. It helps with mineral depletion because parsley is chock full of minerals. It helps with sluggish liver and kidneys, and it helps with fluid retention. So parsley is just really underrated in the world in which we live now. So I am really trying to get the message out to everybody that parsley it should be your friend, and it makes a delicious tea. I put that parsley in my tea this morning, and mixed with the calendula and the chamomile and the mint, it just really had a lovely flavor. I really encourage you guys to go out and try it. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. And I did not put any sweetener in this tea. The chamomile and the mint were plenty sweet to sweeten this whole cup of tea. So parsley likes to grow where it's more moist, the soil is rich, and it also prefers, sorry, had a brain blip there for a second, prefers semi-shade, or partial shade. And you pinch that back throughout the season, keep the soil moist, and it will continue to provide more and more parsley for you all season long. You can dry the parsley, no problem, and then just continue to add it to your tea. You can juice parsley fresh and chop it. You can still cook with it, but then you can also dry it and use it in your tea, or you can use it fresh in tea as well. It's best used for iron deficiency, for postpartum support, and if you have any urinary issues. It is really a great liver detoxifier, and again, bringing back the minerals back into your body. So do not underestimate this little garnish that we have. Not to mention, parsley is also a breath. It helps refresh your breath. And if you're trying to switch from you're eating something and you're trying to get the full flavor of what you're eating, take a sprig of parsley and it will cleanse your palate. Holy basil. All right, holy basil is definitely one for stress relief. It also helps with adrenal fatigue. It helps with balancing your blood sugar, and it does help with reducing brain fog. So how to grow holy basil? Now, I'm not talking just regular culinary basil, although that also has medicinal benefits. I'm talking about, it's actually called holy basil or tulsi, Ocimum sanctum. And I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, so please forgive me in the comments for those that are even more scientifically adept in pronouncing these words. But it prefers warm soil. Pinch the flower tops off, but you can also use it. You treat it the same as the culinary basil. You can cook with it, you can eat it. But again, tea, dry the leaves. You can dry the leaves and use it. It's wonderful as a tea. It's got a nice flavor, a nice scent to it, and you can tincture holy basil. It helps if you're feeling burnt out. This is a mood elevator. It helps with immune support, and it helps with mental clarity. It will not help me pronounce the words any better, however. So, yarrow. Yarrow is an herb. It will spread as well, but yarrow is something you should have in your emergency go bag. Powdered, tinctured, definitely powdered, and you should have it tinctured as well. It's a battlefield herb. Like if you get a wound and you're bleeding, this helps with that. It's a styptic. It's called a styptic herb. Um, if you start bleeding, you want yarrow as your friend. Okay, so yarrow helps with bleeding. It helps with fevers. It helps with menstrual flow. It helps with wounds. It's very hardy. It loves the sun. It is drought tolerant and it's very hardy and it will spread. It's got runners that goes underneath the ground and it will spread. It has very feathery leaves and then it gets these crowned topped flowers. The flowers and the leaves are what you can use. Use it as a tea, use it as a compress, use it as a powder, make a salve out of it. It is best for first aid. It's great for fever management and it is really good for circulation. So yarrow is definitely one of those that you want to get in your go bag and have in your medicine chest. Even if you have animals, like if you have dogs that you're clipping their toenails, make sure you have a little jar of yarrow powder, because if you get that quick clipped and it starts to bleed, stick their toenail in that powder and it'll stop bleeding immediately because yarrow is that effective. All right. So now that you're choosing, somebody asked me, where do I start? Just choose one. Just choose one. If you don't have any of these growing, then start with one. Pick one out of this list of 10 or out of the list that we had last week and just start there. Start experimenting with it and see what works best for you, how you're going to use it and what you have going on in your life. If you have kids, maybe you want to start with one of the mints, or maybe even you want to start with the garlic, but just start with something. But here's how you preserve their power. Harvest in the morning once the dew has left the flowers. You don't want to harvest when they're dewy and wet. Dry in bundles or on a drying rack, or hang them. You can use a dehydrator. You can use even the outdoors, but if you're drying outside, make sure it's not humid or windy because they'll blow away. And you also don't want to have them, if you're going to be drying on a drying rack outside, you want to make sure there's plenty of airflow and you don't want to dry in the sun. The sun will actually degrade the quality of that herb. So if you're going to dry outside, make sure it's in the shade. Store in airtight glass jars. But I'm going to tell you, and I didn't think this would happen, when you're storing them, make sure that you label everything. Don't think that you will remember, because I started out thinking, oh, I'll remember what these are. And trust me, you won't. You might think, oh, I'll remember what this flower is, until you get to another flower that dries similarly to this flower. So until you get really, really versed, and even then, you won't remember one tincture from the other or one flower from the other once you get quite a few. Or if you start blending different things, you forget what you've made that blend out of. So Store in airtight glass jars, label the name and when you harvested them. Keep them in a dark, dry place because sun and moisture are herbal enemies. And the shelf life, leaves are approximately a year, sometimes more. But a good rule of thumb is if you open the jar and it doesn't smell like what you harvested or purchased, if you're purchasing if you don't want to grow it, purchase from a good source. So if they don't look good, they don't smell like the way they were purchased or harvested, then chances are then you need to compost them. We have chickens, so some of our herbs, if we don't get them used or tinctured or put them in teas and get them used up, they go to our chickens. So leaves are approximately a year, maybe two, depending. Roots are 2 years, maybe more. Flowers are about 6 to 12 months. And again, this is unprepared. They're just dried. This is not putting them into your preparations. But trust your senses again. If it doesn't smell like medicine anymore, then it's time to compost them or, feed them to your chickens. Different things like that. So what are some things that you can do to to the herbs that I just mentioned? Again, lemon balm and chamomile tea at bedtime for kids and adults. Excellent idea. Thyme, make it a steam. If you have any congestion, whether it's in your chest or in your sinuses, I'm telling you, thyme steam is an excellent idea. You will thank me. Try it, I'm telling you. Calendula oil. Infuse some oil with the calendula. You, on diaper rash or even over a post-op scar, it heals it. Eczema, my grandkids call it boo-boo cream. They want Oma's boo-boo cream. So, parsley. Make a smoothie out of parsley after you've had like a really heavy meal. Make a parsley smoothie. Lavender. You can make an Epsom salt lavender bath for those nights that your mind is kind of racing and you just need to get more centered and calmed down. You can take your mint and make ice cubes with your mint, freeze them, and then pop them into like a bag or a jar and keep them in the freezer. And then when you're wanting a minty refreshment, pull out your mint ice cubes. And, that way you can flavor your water. You can even do a lemon mint ice cube and have that in the freezer ready for yourself to pop it in your water bottle to get you to be drinking more water too. You can do a tulsi and a lemon, a holy basil, we call it tulsi, a holy basil and lemon balm tea to start your day. Do a nice, warm, relaxing cup of tea right away in the morning. Start your day more calmly. And then the minute you start getting a tickle in your throat, make yourself a strong infusion of oregano tea. And then you get a minor cut or start to have those, monthly cramps, ladies. Make a yarrow compress. Make a really heavy infusion of tea. Put some cotton cloth in that tea and soak it, and then make a compress. Put it over the cut or put it over your cramping area or even in your leg. If you're a runner, well, even if you're not a runner and you start getting cramps, put a yarrow compress over it. This is how herbalism starts to become part of your life and not just sitting on your shelf. Just incorporate it into all these areas of your life little by little, and it becomes just a part of your daily routine. There's really something just peaceful and really sacred about tending the herbs or the garden, or even if you're not ready to start growing them yourself, even just mixing a loose leaf tea. So when you're growing herbs, you're not just growing healing, but you're growing confidence in yourself, in your skills. You're being empowered because you're sowing with intention, right? You're nurturing your family with your own hands, and you're taking time to care for yourself. This is biblical. It really truly is, because it's really starting from the Garden of Eden to the Tree of Life and Revelation. And healing has always been rooted in the land. We just have forgotten how to do it. So you're invited into that same co-creation that God has given to us, that we've just forgotten how to come into communication with and be a part of. So start letting herbalism and using what God has provided for us become your sacred space and become your own classroom, your own pharmacy, your own place of worship, even, not to some, pharmacy, but to the God who created it. Because we should be thankful for everything He has provided. It is just really incredible what each of these things can do for each of our body systems. Now, I'm not saying to kick all modalities of traditional medicine out the window, because I am a firm believer that medical care should be emergent and should blend well with what we're doing. We all need to learn how to play well in the same sandbox. But herbs are there for us to learn how to use them for the reasons we need to use them on a daily basis, and use the traditional medical model as an emergent basis, not a daily basis. We have to start flipping the script so that we're not always reaching for a pharmaceutical. So I hope that this is helping you see how nature can become more in tune, how we can become more in tune with nature. You don't need to know everything. You just need to begin. So start with one herb or 3 herbs that feel like they are approachable for your family. Book a call with me to help me. I'll help you walk through what your best next step is. Or watch again and with your family and make it a family mission. You don't need to know everything. You just need to begin. So the Lord will guide you continually and satisfy your soul. You shall be like a watered garden. Isaiah 58:11 says that. You were made to heal. Let's grow something beautiful. Let's empower you to learn how to do this so it's sustainable. That's my challenge for you today. I would love for you to put this in the comments. Where are you going to start? I would love to see in the comments what you took away from today and where you want to start. So go ahead and put in the comments where you would like to go from here. I can't wait to see you next week for our week 3 on our herbal medicine journey. All right, see you then.